Hi all, I am Jessica Seibel. I was the 2024 Carbon Audit and Design Reporting Fellow for Dean's Beans Organic Coffee Company. So I'm just going to give a quick project overview. Dean's Beans is a organic coffee company based out of Orange, Massachusetts, and they have been tracking their carbon emissions since 2008. And so this project was to create their carbon audit for the 2023 year. This is important due to the current climate crisis, but also the development of new greenhouse gas accounting laws. So for this carbon audit, I was calculating their scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. Scope 1 emissions are any on-site emissions. So for Dean's Beans, this was their propane that they purchased, but also the gas that they used for their vehicles, their company-owned vehicles. And then scope 2 is any purchased electricity emissions. So for Dean's Beans, this was looking at their kilowatt hours that they purchased from National Grid. And then for scope 3, that is any upstream and downstream activities and the emissions associated with that. And so this year we looked at 6 of the 15 scope 3 categories, and those categories were business travel, waste, purchased goods and services, capital goods, upstream transportation and distribution, and downstream transportation and distribution. And then once we had all that data, we entered it into the Sustainability Indicator Management Analysis Platform, also known as SIMAP. And this platform would then calculate the carbon emissions, but also would store this data for years to come. This is the first year that Dean's Beans would be using a software. And so, like I mentioned, the carbon audit was my main deliverable, but I also was working on a carbon audit summary that just introduced the process we were going to be using, the results, the conclusion, and next steps. And then we also created a framework for Dean's Beans to use for years to come. So like I mentioned, my main deliverable was the carbon audit itself. And so here are the results from that audit. As you can see, scope 1 is in blue, scope 3 is in green. You might be wondering, why is there no scope 2? And this is because Dean's Beans did purchase kilowatt hours. So there was a scope 2 entered into SIMAP, but because of the solar panels on Dean's Beans facilities and the credits that those solar panels have accrued over the years, it zeroed out the purchased kilowatt hours. And so then, like I was saying, scope 1 is in blue. So that made up 21.7% of the total emissions at 76.41 metric tons of CO2 equivalent. And then scope 3 is in the green, and that made up 78.3% of the total emissions, and that was 276.31 metric tons of CO2 equivalents. And the total was 352.75 metric tons of CO2 equivalents. And this is roughly equivalent to the average emissions from 32 homes. Okay, and now the impact of this project. So the first area of impact is the importance of tracking emissions. So if an organization isn't tracking their emissions, they cannot reduce them. There's a saying that goes, you can't manage what you don't measure. So it's important that companies year to year are tracking their emissions to see if their emissions are increasing or decreasing. And like I mentioned earlier in my presentation, this isn't new for Dean's Beans. They've been doing this since 2008, so they know the importance of doing this and they plan to continue. The next area of impact is their carbon sequestration projects. So Dean's Beans continues to fund multiple farmers' reforestation projects. These projects are really important to support not only carbon sequestration, but also biodiversity. So Dean's Beans plans to continue supporting these projects because they know how important it is for not only the environment, but also the farmers and the communities that the farmers live in. And then the last area of impact is future audits. So creating a carbon audit framework for Dean's Beans is crucial so they can continue their efforts of tracking and reducing their emissions. Having a standard that they use year to year will make it more helpful for them to be able to compare their results over the years. That was my presentation. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out.